What's up, folks? My name is Liam Shai. Welcome to another quick tip here at the Pyramind Studios, and very excited to talk about mixing today. Now, mixing is so important, as I'm sure you guys know. It's probably the one thing that I hear over and over again is that folks struggle with mixing. They struggle with getting a really high quality professional sound. So that is the premise for today's tip. I'm gonna give you the one, in my opinion, the one absolute major must-have, must-do every single time. Follow this technique, and in my opinion, I think you will find that the results are superior, hands down, to the old way that many of you are probably mixing at home. So the tip, in my opinion, the number one thing that you can do to make your sound more professional is this. Convert everything to audio. Always, every time, without exception. All right? So I want to talk about that a little bit further. What does that actually mean? For me, what it means is creating a separate mix session that is not the same session that you wrote the song in. This is, in my opinion, a big flag, a big red flag. When I see folks and I hear that folks are mixing their track in the same session that they recorded and created and composed the song. No, bad, don't do it, do not do it. And the reason is twofold. One, MIDI. You can't control MIDI. You think you can control MIDI, and to a certain extent you can kind of control MIDI, but at the end of the day, if you really want to have absolute control over your sounds, you have to convert it to audio. You just got to do it, and I'll show you why. So that's number one. Number two is that, and it's somewhat psychological, but it's taking off one hat and it's putting on the other hat. So you're saying, okay, I've done my songwriting, I've worn my composer hat, I'm now gonna take off my composer hat, my composition hat, put that on the table, I'm gonna grab my mix engineer hat, my technical hat, right? We're gonna kind of put away the creative and come into the realm of science and technology. So I'm gonna show you guys a session here that I'm working on. This is an original track for my Mountain of Youth project, which is my chill house, deep house project. That's been a lot of fun to work on, really enjoying it. And I'm gonna show you the two sides of the project. One, which is the before, the composition stage, and then two, which is the secondary stage. And part of it is I just wanna help you guys understand where to draw the line, because that's probably the most common question I get asked. They say, Liam, how do I know, when to go from the songwriting stage to the mixing stage? And then people also ask a lot, well, can I EQ in the songwriting stage? Can I compress in the songwriting stage, right? Can I mix a bit in the songwriting stage? These are all common questions. So I will say, without a doubt, I'm mixing in the songwriting stage the entire time. So it's not a matter of don't mix at all in the songwriting stage, because if you don't mix at all, it's gonna sound terrible, right? And it's not gonna be inspiring. So I always say, the rule of thumb is you should do as much as you can to make it sound as good as you can in the songwriting stage. But just bearing in mind, always knowing that there's that safety net of you're gonna really do that fine detail work, the really precision type of work in the mix stage. So you don't need to get super bogged down with some of those technical details because you know that you have a stage later to do that. But at the same time, make it sound as good as you can, because gold going in is gold going out, right? Shinier gold coming out. But if you put in, what do they say? You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. I don't know how that works for this situation, but it's true. You can do that. But we don't want turds, right? We don't want turds, even glittery turds. So yeah, maybe we'll edit this. I don't know, but I think we should leave it in. But anyway, point is, gold coming in is gold coming out. So make it gold, make it pop, make it beautiful, make it shine, make it amazing. And then when you go and mix it, it's gonna be even more amazing, right? So, but I just wanna show you just kind of what I have here. So this is a track I'm working on, and it sounds pretty good, but it's gonna sound better. Baby, hold on to me. Baby, hold on to me. Baby, hold on to me. So there's a little preview of what it sounds like. I will tell you a couple of things that I struggled with in this track. First and foremost, I really struggled with the bass line. I really did. And I think it's always kind of a struggle with the bass line because you want it to sound big and huge and awesome. And you know, when that chorus drops, you want people to just be like, oh, the bass, it's so good. It's like, it's so massive and it's so, you know, three-dimensional and it's got texture, but it's clean. And you know, it's like we want our bass to have you know, so many characteristics. I almost feel like we have these like very unrealistic ideals, right, of what our bass should be that make it very difficult, I think, to achieve from a mix point of view. Because, you know, if your bass is absolutely like massive and huge and all these things that we think that we want, you know, there's no way that it can work within the context of the rest of the sounds, right? Because it's not just all about the bass. You have the kick drum and you have the snare drum and then you have your harmony and you have your synths and your leads and you have all these other sounds and they're all competing for space in the mix, right? So if you just make your bass absolutely enormous, it'll drown everything else out and your mix will be muddy. So you don't really want that, right? So what you really want is a bass which fills up all of the room within a certain, you know, contained range. And so finding that is very difficult. And so, you know, layering is one way that we do that, right? You have a sub bass and then you have like a higher level sort of mid bass and then maybe you even have another higher frequency top bass, right? Or layering multiple different types of synths which have different timbres. So some can give it the weight and the heaviness and then others give it the texture and the sort of big wideness, right? Because you want your kind of low bass to be in mono, you want your upper frequency bass to be more stereo and big. So there's all these kind of different things that you have to, you know, parameters that you want to hit to make your bass compete and sound awesome in 2016 and beyond. So anyway, so I'll just show you, and even actually here, I went and froze my bass. And the reason that I did that was because, I mean, just look at the bass line. You know, you see there's a lot of variation here with the notes. So if we just kind of, and this is very typical with bass, you know, particularly, you know, if you have it all in MIDI, right? You're using a synth and then you make your bass line. You're gonna have little variations in the synth, right? You're gonna have variations based on which frequency that actual bass note is hitting. You know, certain frequencies are gonna really come through and sound really prominent and loud, and other frequencies, even if they're the same velocity and all of that, they're gonna not sound very loud at all. And you know, it could be because they're lower, they're harder to hear, your sound system's not as capable of, you know, reproducing those frequencies. So you have to then go in and start to adjust the amplitude of each note. And in my opinion, I think you really have to do that if you wanna have control of the bass. So here, we can see I already had it converted to audio for some control, but we're gonna touch on that even more a bit later. But in the mix session. But yeah, so I mean, this is just kind of an overview of the track. So you heard that. Then we have kind of this breakdown part.
Baby, you are. Baby, you are. Baby, you are. My soul. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool, so I just wanted to play that for you a little bit just so you can kind of hear things, hear how it sounds, get a feel for the mix. And now we'll go ahead and actually go over to the other section, the other session, which is the mix session.